Vinyl records date back to over a century ago, and very few of its characteristics have changed over the years. They come in the form of round plastic discs with grooves pressed into the surface. It is these grooves that cause vibrations, creating an analog signal when picked up by the needle on a turntable. It's an old-fashioned piece of technology which has been outclassed in price and convenience by digital music. We live in the 21st century, but everything is controlled by technology. Innovation has been so extensive that the mobile phone is a person's identity. Using a mobile handset, people can browse the internet, send emails, capture video and also listen to music. Even with the resources available to listen to music on the go in any location, it seems that there is still a distinct attraction to vinyl records. But how could this be possible? Vinyls are expensive, heavy, bulky and overall very inconvenient compared to digital technology. I'll be asking some DJs in the scene why vinyl still has a place in nightlife culture. I also hope to find out what makes vinyl sustain its place in a market dominated by iTunes. In January 2013, the music industry suffered a substantial loss when HMV, the UK's biggest retailer of physical music products, went into administration. This undoubtedly puts pressure on the physical product market and asks questions about sustainability. Although this may be harmful to the market and consumers, independent music shops will no doubt be unaffected. I was looking to find the perfect record shop to symbolise the independent scene when I remembered a certain place not too far from home. I came to a place in my hometown Accrington called Custard Cube. This is the only record shop in Accrington and will probably be the last. Upon entering the shop I was immediately struck with hundreds of memorabilia items, an old-fashioned tap that would have ordinarily been thrown away years ago. The shop felt like an archive of the past. It was amazing to see the sheer extent of random items that existed there. Perhaps you could say Custard Cube is a museum of music culture. It truly is an amazing spectacle and has unique characteristics seen nowhere else. I couldn't get an interview with the owner, but one of the customers, John, was happy to share some of his thoughts on vinyl records and the current music scene.
See, the thing is, a lot of people say this, but this is unless you've got them and you listen to them. I think definitely what was recorded on a vinyl, I don't think it's the same quality on a CD, and definitely not on MP3. So it's that sense of I don't know, I can't find the right word for it, but it's that sense of a real thing, if you get what I mean, as if the orchestra is there playing it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not fake, it's not manufactured. I mean, that's one of the things. The other thing is, bear in mind, when the vinyl were around, like, I don't know, 50s, 60s, something, those bands are not there anymore. You know? And for example, one of the local bands, Hornby, most of the work was just done there and there. They just sat there and did it, and then they put it on vinyl. Whereas now, you know, you go to the studio and they do reverb, they do this, they do that. That's just that's mainly that's what the reason is. So rather than actually being an investment or maybe one day the price is gonna go up or whatever, because to me, what's the point of having something if you can't enjoy it? What's the point if I get it and then just put it somewhere? And, oh, it's in immaculate condition. I paid only £2 for it. I want to sell for £200. You know, that's the main reason. That's the main reason.
So clearly John has an interest in older music, and I don't think it can be argued that vinyl offers a greater catalogue than any other medium. It's interesting that he mentions quality though. What are the actual advantages that give people a reason to keep buying vinyl?
What advantages does vinyl have over digital music? I would say the two main advantages is, one, the sound. A lot of people prefer the sound of vinyl. It tends to be a lot more sort of bass heavy and warmer sounding. And the other one is the artwork that you get with the vinyl, and actually having a physical product to show for your money. They're the main advantages.
Vinyl perhaps doesn't provide convenience and portability which many music listeners demand, but there's certainly a niche market for the long-standing medium. A good turntable offers a much richer sound than any other system available. Even with the vastly innovated digital products of today, the historical needle in the groove is still the most accurate and detailed way to reproduce a sound. There's no question that this is a unique selling point, which captures sales from casual listeners and audiophiles alike. Tangible is a word which seems to be mentioned often when it comes to the quality of vinyl. The distinct lack of a product which can be held is unarguably one of digital music's biggest flaws. Artwork and packaging have always played a vital part in music, and it seems a travesty that such commodities have been stripped with the introduction of MP3s.
When the radio came, it didn't kill the newspapers. And then when the television came, it didn't kill radio. And then internet came, didn't kill television, radio. It's just another media. Okay. Well, which one is right? So now we are in the age of the MP3s. It's nothing tangible, MP3. You know, with the record, you know, you open it and you look at it, you read a little bit about it, and MP3 is just, you know, a few seconds and you download it. I don't know if there would be a revival of it, but I think probably, who knows, probably, unless there is another sort of a medium is going to come in. I don't know, MP5, MP6, whatever, but I mean, or probably goes on as, it's very difficult. I would personally like to see the vinyls coming back, but maybe that's sort of a reactionary view about it, you know, it's like, if it's past, you know, and maybe something new, I don't know.
But vinyl has always been around in the electronic music scene, as turntables were the only way to manipulate the speed of tracks to allow for mixing. Even now the medium is still backed by many underground record labels. I spoke to Ashley, who's been DJing on vinyl since an early age.
Yeah, I was involved with records from the age of about 15, I'm now 26 years old, so from a young age, 14, 15, down the U Club, once a week, getting involved, playing on the Technics, because I obviously couldn't afford my own set, and then playing on my mates' belt drive turntables before I finally was about 16. Managed to get some direct drives for my 16th birthday and carried on collecting up until probably the age of about 19 or 20 when I started exploring different genres and different formats.
So Ashley started out as a vinyl DJ and grew up listening to vinyl records, but as time moved on he had to make the shift over to digital to accommodate for his new tastes.
I shifted over to buying digital music because at the time of my life I was sort of playing with different genres, getting more into trance, less into the harder side of hard dance and perhaps in northern Scouse house, and trance was a lot more readily available on digital than it was on vinyl. So I made the investment in CDJs and began to build my collection of digital music. I actually bought an X collection of digital. I bought 300 gigs worth of music for about 100 quid, which put into perspective, you know, a collection of the same amount of music on vinyl would have cost me thousands. So yeah, it was that I wanted to get myself at a level as a club DJ, and I knew that CDJs were the new industry standard, so that's why I changed over.
It's an interesting contrast to the argument that Ashley managed to get hold of so much digital music for such a small cost. This is an example that really shows the simplicity of acquiring music nowadays, but did music being solely available on vinyl play a part in maintaining the DJ profession?
It certainly had a lot to do with the success of different brands and clubs and nights and things, because now everybody can get every record, whereas before there was only so many DJs that had the killer records and people would flock to see those DJs that had those tracks, whereas now everybody's got everything.
I came to a club night called Wax Format where I was given the opportunity to interview the event organisers Amber and Sam. The pair have many years of DJing experience and a lot of knowledge on vinyl within electronic music. I really wanted to find out how the introduction of digital downloads has affected the scene that they're involved in.
my personal opinion, I don't think it's good at all. I think it's been extremely damaging for both the scene and for a lot of DJs, old school DJs at least. You know, back when it was vinyl, you know, it was a big deal getting a record signed because a record label would invest a lot of money in you. They'd invest, I don't know, £20,000, £40,000 in you to have your record pressed and then distributed across all the record shops in the UK or across the world or wherever. And then obviously each record would sell for £5 to £7. So, you know, as you compare that to a download, which is 79p, 99p, 129, whatever, there's a huge difference. The markup's exceptionally more, but you had to have that big investment. But obviously, if it went well, you made a lot of money out of it. Record labels made a lot of money, the DJs made a lot of money, there was a lot of money about. The scene was healthy, you know, and as far as I can see, the download, the digital era coming in is actually vastly responsible for the sort of reduction in the scene that we know today.
I remember myself and a few of the high-end DJs at the time really resenting the fact that we were having to start playing on CDJs, they're out in the clubs, and then the reality, once you start getting used to them, there were these ones called Denon CDJs, and they had like a little disc tray that came out and then a separate console, and most of the clubs used to have those before Pioneers came in, and they were really good because they had a pitch bend with a plus and a minus, so it was a bit like the pitch on a vinyl where you could just bump it forward or bump it back, and as soon as I got to grips with that I was like, yeah, okay, maybe this isn't so bad. But what really pisses me off is the fact that some DJs call themselves DJs but they forget to learn the basics, which is learn your craft, learn where it all stemmed from, and that was from turntable mixing. So yeah, if you want to use CDJs, fair play, but learn on vinyl first.
Clearly vinyl is very highly respected amongst DJs and artists within the electronic music scene. It's almost as though DJs that perform their sets on wax are on another level in terms of talent than people pressing buttons on a laptop. This is mainly due to the degree of difficulty in performing a vinyl set. Synchronising the music and seamlessly mixing two records together is something that can only be achieved by an expert. Electronic music has always struggled to allow for live performances, but many consider a turntable as the DJ's instrument.
It's about the feel and the sound. It's difficult to describe the satisfaction you get from doing a perfect vinyl mix and a completely flawless vinyl set. It is much greater than it would be on digital, in my opinion. Also the way that clubbers and ravers feel about vinyl DJing, it's on a different level to digital DJing. It just transcends almost above itself in a way. It's hard to explain. It's the magic. It's the magic of the old school.
Everyone remembers the first record that they bought as a child. It'd be interesting to ask the new generation if they remember the first download.
What people were coming to realise is they were missing the tangibleness of having an album there, and what was happening was a few labels were then printing just a few, just to see how it went, of their artists' albums onto old LPs, and it worked because people need something tangible there, because like I say, you know, music's become so disposable. Since me being a child, I've still got my old tapes, I've still got my LPs, and I've got them there, and I know the colour of them. I might not know which label it's from, but I know what colour it was, what year it came out. I've even got the words of the lyrics printed on the back or in the sleeve of the tape, do you know what I mean? But all of that means something to me. And, you know, if you've just got a file, you've just got a .mp3 on iTunes, you can't get any nostalgia from that, when that's a shame.
Perhaps iTunes has devalued music, and the fact that they only sell virtual products is a big reason for some people to avoid the service. However, there's definitely a different perspective which John explained.
Bear in mind, iTunes single-handedly saved the music industry of the world, because when the people got into the pirating and everything, what should I have a CD when I can pirate the film, an MP3 of it? The fact that if you make a song now, what are you gonna do with it? It's a hit. How are you gonna sell it? You have no choice but to go to a very big company, and they go to iTunes to download. 79 pence. You can't put it in LP. You can't put it on a CD. Really, nobody's gonna buy it. If one CD is out, that's it. Everybody's gonna copy it. So how do you make money out of this? I don't know. Live performance? I don't know. But a lot of them, they can't play the instrument anyway.
So Ashley's gone back into collecting vinyl again, a trend which is becoming apparent amongst many DJs.
Started collecting vinyl again at the beginning of this year, after a long time without buying one. And it was because I was getting a lot of gigs as a club DJ, a couple of residencies, playing on CDs, and there was a few nights popping up that were vinyl only nights, and I knew the promoters and things. I thought it would be great to get back into vinyl. Started building my collection up and my confidence, with the goal of getting on and doing a club set on vinyl, something I've never really had the chance to do. So that spurred me on really. It's led me to the point where I've actually got a gig in Manchester in a couple of weeks, which I'm looking forward to.
Being so enthusiastic about vinyl, I wondered how it must feel to be collecting records again.
It means a lot to be collecting again, because it's very rewarding seeing your collection build in stature and depth, and being able to know that you're going to get the chance to play it out in a club, for me, is something I get really excited about. So yeah, it's very rewarding.
So what about the modern scene for independent labels? How sustainable is it to keep pressing records?
It's very difficult to make a business model out of vinyl. You have to do it for more than just the business of it. You have to do it because you love it. You have to do it because you want to hear your production on vinyl. You want to have a physical copy of what you've done. You do it because you love it, because it's a really great thing to cut something onto vinyl. It's very expensive now because it's more of a niche thing, and to actually make it work money, you have to charge prices that are unrealistic for people to keep buying.
Overall, I found that vinyl has a place in everyone's heart and holds many happy memories. Of course, it is deeply saddening to see that the product is slowly diminishing in place of cheaper digital alternatives. However, I think that it will always belong in a niche market. The future of vinyl could be very turbulent, with so many older pieces going out of circulation. Massive archives, as seen in Custard Cube, have nowhere to go, and as informed by the owner, they could end up going to waste if nobody takes an interest in buying them. Personally, I will always support the medium because it means a lot to me to own music and play it on a turntable. But as we've established, nobody knows what the future will hold for records, but for the time being I think it's fair to say that the scene's healthy.